Good morning, good afternoon, good night. This is Downtown K for another segment of Downtown Podcast. Downtown, don't waste no time with negativity. So in that fashion, of course, we have to talk about property and real estate and getting your life together. So we have a special guest today, DWN, and he is a top agent in the real estate game, especially in Toronto. And I felt like this was one of the best people to give you guys some knowledge as to things to learn and to educate yourselves about when it comes to the real estate game. So, DWN, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Just off the top of the head, what's something that you could have wasted time with negativity this week, but you chose not to?
Really, I don't have that much in regards to negativity in my life. I kind of have a blinder to it. If there is something negative, I probably just didn't see it. I just, keep my eye focused, keep my eye on the goal, and yeah.
Legit. And I asked you that, don't feel alarmed, because people need to understand that every successful person, because I'm not going to interview people that are not successful, they need to understand that's something that successful people do not dwell on. Negativity, time-wasting things. In terms of it's winter now, is this usually a peak season or a slower season for you?
Well, for me, I guess kind of increase my workload during what would be a slower season. So right now, it's between December and February, it's going to be a slower time in real estate. December, for the obvious reasons, you have the Christmas holidays and such. People don't really focus on buying homes; they're focused on buying presents.
Sure.
After that, after Christmas holidays is done with them, then they have less money. They're not really looking for homes in January.
Very true.
February is kind of like the hangover from that, and then you go from March, April,
Tax
May.
season.
Well, yeah, but then people start looking, because a lot of people like to move between June and September, in between the school year. So they'll start looking in April, May, and June. So the spring market should have an uptick. Yeah.
So I'm not really going in order, but if I were to buy a home or looking to buy a home in winter, would that mean it's a better advantage for me because it's a slower time, so people are really wanting to sell, and I'm assuming nobody would sell their house in the winter time if it wasn't really necessary?
Correct. You're actually very correct about that. So a lot of times people, if they're really selling if they're selling over the between December and February, they really do need to get rid of it. They're not just they're much more, normally they're going to be motivated buyers. You can't speak for everyone, but normally they're going to be motivated buyers, seeing that there's going to be less buyers on the market during that time. You'll see a lot of investors will stay strong during this time, trying to find deals on the market. So it could be a better time for you to buy a home, but you also have to notice that there's going to be less supply.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a specific kind of home and you want to have a large variety, a large supply, you're going to look more towards the summertime when more people are selling their home.
More options, definitely.
Right.
Okay, so you're about to sell a property. You want to get yourself pumped up and in the mood. What track are you listening to?
What track?
Yeah.
I don't listen to much music right now. My favorite would probably be 444 by
Dope. Okay, that was a very dope album.
So yeah,
and I'm so very upset that Jigga did not win a Grammy, but we don't need the Grammy to solidify her dad. Okay, and on top of that, just as a side note, someone did bring up the point to say when he was talking about drug dealing, singing, etc., they were so quick to give him awards, but now that he's putting his people in his community onto game in terms of credit and etc., which is major, especially for these times, they didn't give him his credentials or his award.
Well, that's very true. That's going to happen a lot of times in life, period.
Legit.
You're going to have much more, some of the hatest people, some of the people that took on the most hate in the world was, people like Jesus Christ, right?
Yep.
So I mean, because you don't have the public approval, doesn't mean you're not on the right track. So it's good, like especially Jay-Z at this point in his career, kind of could just do what he wants to for his approval only, right? So I mean, at least he's good in that position where he doesn't have to rap for money and such, or doesn't have to work for money like most people do.
He's not a businessman. He's a businessman.
Exactly. So I mean, he's in a different position. He's not really rapping for Grammys. So.
Okay, so out of curiosity, are you ever too young to buy property?
Absolutely not. No.
What is the youngest?
Anybody could buy. I mean, not anybody. Obviously, you have to be an adult.
Over 18.
Right.
Okay.
But
we're in Canada, so over 18. In the States, is it 21 or is it 18 as well?
I think it's 18, but don't quote me.
All right.
I think it's also 18.
Okay.
Really, all you need to do to buy a property is, I mean, you need to have your finances straight. Things like, you know.
So when you say your finances straight, can I have bad credit and buy property?
You can. You can have bad credit and buy property.
But it's better to have.
You're most likely going to be paying a higher rate. I mean, that will come, obviously. You're going to be paying, more per month, but you can still get it.
Okay. But having a better, what would you say is a good credit score to have where you're like, okay, this is a safe number, you're sure to fall, in a good place in terms of, you won't have too much limits in terms of buying?
I'll say 680.
680.
Over 700 would be better. But 680 and above, you're normally okay.
Definitely. And I feel like sometimes the way how the system is, how it's set up. For example, I'll just use the Canadian system because that's what I know. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to finish your post-secondary schooling around 23, 24. You've racked up an average of maybe $50,000 to $70,000 worth of debt, when in reality, if maybe we were taught differently, we could have known not to rack up that debt or whatever the case is, because some people do need to borrow money for school or a certain amount. But you leave school, then you have all this credit card debt on top of your school debt, when if you got to do things a bit differently, you would have been able to buy property or invest into, you know what I mean? Versus and I feel sometimes the system kind of sets us up and delays the younger generation in that way. Just the order of how they say your life is supposed to go. Elementary school, high school, post-secondary, debt, pay off your debt, then maybe you can buy property. That's kind of the trend I noticed.
I mean, that's not a way that's not a way I would recommend. That would take you quite a long time. I mean, you don't have to pay off your things like student loans to buy a house. You don't even really have to pay off even credit card debt to really buy a house. I mean, the less that you have is normally going to be the better, but you don't have to pay those things off. I was actually speaking to a group of I think it was between grade 10, 11, and 12 students before, and what I told them is that after they finish college, what they want to do is, first things first, to start them off on the best track, they want to either move back home with their parents, two, keep rent low. Mm-hmm. So what they're going to do is either, if they're going to get a job or whatever in the same city as their parents, then I would say, try to move back home. Either you might get free rent, you might get very cheap rent. If you don't have that opportunity, then keep rent low, which is getting maybe a 3-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom condo with 3 other of your friends, and you each split it, because you each could buy. I mean, you could get
$600 worth of rent.
$600, yeah, maybe $600, something like that,
yeah.
Right? What that does is start you off on a totally different track than everybody else. Let's say right now we're in, this is Queen West. We have, Glasson Hotel there, Drake Hotel there. A lot of the people here in this area, they moved to this area because, they have the art, you have the nightlife, stuff like that. What
more they call things to pull you in to spend your money.
Exactly. What they call the pop-in models generation, where they have $2,000 rent, they have $700 car payment, all these kind of things, and they just got their job. Maybe they make 40, 50,000, but all their money is going towards paying their debt, right? Mm-hmm. You start that off on rent, and like I said, $2,000 rent over a year's time is $24,000. Over 2 years' time is $48,000, right? 4 years' time, that's going to be what, like $106,000. Yeah. So after over 4 years, if you would have saved that, either stayed at home, and then those 4 years, let's say if you had free rent, you have the $106,000 in your pocket, right? So you don't have to even wait that long. But I mean, let's say you need $30,000, $40,000 for a down payment, you could do that, right? Just by staying home for a year or two. It's a small thing. Or if you keep rent low, you have $500. You can save that $1,500 every month, and then get your down payment, and not very long. I mean, by 25, 26, you can have your down payment for a house. You have your good credit, and then you used to buy a house fairly early.
And I feel like that's where most Black families fail versus other cultures. Because straight up, downtown, we're with the realness, okay? I see, like, Indian or brown families, a lot of them living in the same home, right? They're doing what they got to do, and when one moves out, they're best believe they're buying a big property, and that one will follow suit, and a bunch will move into his, and continue. White people, their kids, most of the times, not everyone's this way, but a trend I see, like the majority, they live with their parents until they can afford something, or sometimes their parents will even have saved beforehand to kind of set them up and say, all right, here. Chinese people, same thing. And if I'm missing another race, like, I'm sorry, but that's the trend. And I feel like a couple weeks ago, I interviewed a lady or a woman named Angel Rich, and she's quote unquote the next Steve Jobs. She's written a book, it's titled The History of the Black Dollar. But we did discuss also money versus pride, and how that, like, involves the Black community. And I feel like that's something major, because a lot of Black kids, straight up, I'm guilty of it too. I don't want to live home. I want to have my own place. I want to push my key into my own door before you're ready, and then you end up doing whatever to yourself, or racking up this $160,000 worth of debt. Then what? Then you're really stuck until you're almost 40.
Yeah. It could be a literal trap. Yeah. Because I mean, it's hard to pay, especially in Toronto, right? It's hard to pay that high rent and still save on top of that, right? It'll take you a lot longer, and you're not going to save as fast as the real estate market is appreciating, really, a lot of times. So, yeah, I mean, it's very true. A lot of other cultures do that. But, yeah, it's not always on parents or on the child. It's kind of just like a mixture.
But you know what? I'll play the devil's advocate. To some degree, it is the parents' fault, because your parents are already in debt. So you're also I feel like sometimes it's continuing the cycle of debt, because other people, maybe they're in middle class or higher, you'll notice their parents have saved something or put something aside to be like, okay, when they leave college, I'll give them this, kind of give them their head start in life. It's very rare I meet, like, Black friends that have told me their parents were even able, it's not that they don't want to, that we're even able to do that. Because they're still trying to play catch up, or the factor of, like, our generations being immigrants and coming to Canada and having to get their foot in the door. Just in that itself, sometimes Tim Hortons isn't cutting it enough. And the job market and all those things I know play a factor, but I feel like it is an issue, especially when it comes to our race. I don't see, like, other races having as many issues as the Black race.
Right. I understand what you're saying, but I feel like, everyone has certain cards they were dealt, right?
Definitely.
So, let's say cards you were dealt that your parents don't have anything to give you in regards to buying a house. In the example I just gave, I mean, you can save $48,000 if you just live at home. Or live cheaply, right? You can save for a down payment. And I'm actually taking you to save for a down payment if you're living in Toronto. I can't speak for other places. At least if you're living in Toronto, which is what I know. 3 to 4 years of extremely cheap rent or free rent, if you could do that, you can save for a down payment. And the major difference the major difference between a renter and a homeowner is mostly a down payment. I mean, your rent is normally covering the mortgage. So if you do 3 years of turmoil, you get it. So
It's
I mean, a
true.
person can't say that, oh, well, these kids had a head start or not. I mean, that's 3 years. You can
It's true.
anyone if you can't sacrifice 2 or 3 years for financial freedom, then you're just not ready.
About to go downtown. Downtown. You about to go downtown.
Downtown, bitches.
Sometimes I just can't stand this. Don't worry. Downtown. Don't waste no time with negativity.
The segment Talk Up Tuesdays. Talk up.
Talk up. What are you saying?
What's up, Mr. T Ford?
I'm out here. Way too much now. I'm way too out here.
This week for Talk Up Tuesdays, Talk Up Tuesdays is a segment we have. Yeah, so Talk Up Tuesdays is a segment that it allows people just questions that I feel need to be answered, and I want to know what people think. So that's a platform for you. Hashtag Talk Up Tuesdays. If you have questions that you'd like me to put out there, if you want to remain anonymous, whatever it is, just submit, DM, and you could be featured. Yeah. So this week for Talk Up Tuesdays, a lot was going on, but the question that I felt needed to be asked was, should NBA YoungBoy been arrested for the video that was leaked with his girlfriend? Why or why not? That was the question, Mr. T Ford. So I just want to give a little background for what at least I saw. There was a video of him and her just kind of in the hallway interacting, very unpredictable due to what people are used to seeing in a hotel hallway. And it was caught on somebody's cell phone. Might I add the poly to that?
Yeah, that's some.
It was some man at work. How do you still
That's heavy Trudeau.
have your job?
Heavy Trudeau sauce. That's heavy Trudeau sauce. That's what I call that. You just gotta politic that one well. But there's no way around that. Here's my thing.
And that wasn't the first time. So prior to that event, just before you just unleash, there was also her sleeping in the lobby of a hotel. A housekeeper took a video of her.
Wow.
She was sleeping in the hotel lobby, and apparently he was having what it appeared to be is physical interaction with other emails that were not this girl. And then fast forward now, the girl went on live. I forgot your name, sorry, but you are kind of cute. You cute? Yeah. She was talking and saying that they were playing and it was nothing, they were just joking around, and she has now also released the song, which, to be honest, I don't even care what the name is. I'm sorry, but it's true. But basically saying how they love each other and whatnot.
She's an artist? I didn't know that.
Nah.
She's not an artist.
No.
But she released a song.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, here's my thing. If this has allowed her to kind of find a channel to express herself, and she's in what she deems and other deems around her to be a safe space, it's nobody's business. Handle yours. That's it. That's the official word.
Well, let's see what some people had to say this week. So we have, is that
Jessica Victoria Salter.
And she said, it doesn't look like play fighting.
True.
Why'd I read it in that way?
Because I feel that's how she said it. It really looks like
I'm sorry,
like
but
a Mortal Kombat.
I play fight,
grapple.
and like I seen that girl fly. Like it was like, you know, in wrestling when you're in the ring and they have you by your arms and then they're spinning you around.
Yep.
And then you like get let go and you just fly for a little bit.
Yeah,
and
you
slide.
fly.
That is what I witnessed. And he was like, it looked like he was trying to force her direction back towards the room.
Yeah.
But they
That's
just
yeah,
play
like
fighting,
that's
though.
another thing. Was she heading towards the room? Like, where was this headed? If you want to,
She was heading to the elevator.
She was running to the elevator, or she was running to the room.
I'd say she was ready to the elevator. She was quickly walking. And then he just popped down around the corner and like grabbed her. I mean, forcefully held her. Sorry.
Trudeau sauce. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, we have here at the Ambition 1706. Yes, assault is assault, and now it's evidence. True. Yo.
Yeah.
The Ambition sounds like, know how to go on. So
yeah, facts is
assault is
facts.
assault. He goes on to say,
oh, we have to read what I wrote. I tried to play also a little disclosure. I tried to play a little bit of devil's advocate because, you know, sometimes like you can't front like stuff doesn't happen. Not that it's excusable.
No, but you have to be real
in a situation, and you know, you guys just know that that's their thing, and they'll work it out.
Yeah,
I've
like,
seen some crazy shit with people in relationships and arguing. I've seen some crazy shit, and those same people will go and lay down on a pillow and make a baby, and everything's good. So,
not the bed, just a pillow. They just lie down on the pillow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Sometimes it just happens that way. All right.
So the question was actually,
I said to him after he said
could
that,
they have been forced into counseling? And his response was, yeah, but he has a history of abuse to that girl. Plus, he's in a time of the Me Too movement. I think that's very good that he's acknowledging the Me Too movement. He chose a bad time to be in the public eye.
I see you, Mr. Ambition. He's out there. He's with those people that are actually affected by the Me Too movement. So I could see how that would also be a personal connection for him.
Yeah, definitely. And him acknowledging it's a bad time to be in the public eye also. Now, I'm not for any brother being incarcerated, but this wasn't selling a diamond bag of weed or getting caught while driving black. You can't just assault someone like that, male or female. So, very true. You put hands on someone, there are repercussions.
Yeah. Whether it's discreet.
Handle that.
Way, or, you know, this
court way.
Jeez. But either way, I'm not a fan of anyone like being like, I still do stand by that. I feel like jail doesn't always have to be that's kind of what they do to our black youth, you know?
I feel like they just do it to anybody now. Anybody can catch it. Black youth definitely catch it. First-hand account and witnessing. But
that
now,
video was grimy. I'm not gonna front. Like, I felt like I was watching like some
it was Royal Rumble.
Mortal Kombat.
Royal Rumble. But still, you know what? We hope the best for everyone and be a young boy and his...
Do whatever makes you happy.
His girl.
Yeah. Alright, so that has been another segment of Talk Up Tuesdays. Don't forget to follow the head page at DWNTWN Downtown. Don't waste no time with negativity.
Downtown K.
So if I'm correct, and which I do completely agree, is like no matter what cards you're dealt with in life, especially when it comes to like the real estate game, there's no room to blame others. If you really want to change it, you'll change it. You'll do something about it, whether it's bumming it out, eating pasta every day, like whatever the case is, you'll do what you need to do to get where you need to go. It's all about the long term.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the people we admire, right? You look at Steve Jobs that you were just talking about, the lady.
Yeah.
I mean, when he couldn't find any more investors, he sold his car, right? Sold his own car to get the investment to keep Apple going. There's countless other investments, other sacrifices by people who have really made it big. That we all know, but I mean they've had to pay those sacrifices.
Definitely.
So I mean that's just how it goes. You're gonna have to sacrifice in life. Like you can't really just get out of school and you just make it. Like it's not really like that.
No.
Yeah, that's how it is normally on TV and how they show it. But it's not like you're not gonna get out of college and you're making $200,000. It just doesn't happen. So you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. You're gonna have to really get that reality check. Figure out the path you want to take, and not even only in real estate, in anything, and just follow that.
Okay, so let's say I have this 680. What are my steps? Jermaine, I have a 680 credit score. I'd like to buy a home. This will be my first property ever. What are the steps kind of that? Okay.
Well, first thing I do is I recommend people speak to a mortgage broker. A mortgage broker will look at your situation and they'll be able to tell you, okay, you know what? This is what you could afford right now. Let's say if you could only afford this, for example, you could only afford $300,000, but the condo you want is $400,000. They can say, well, you need to do this. You need to pay off this debt. You need to pay off your car. You need to pay off some of your student loan, whatever it is, to be able to get approved for that $400,000. So no matter where you are, I think the first thing you should do is talk to a mortgage broker. I also have my mortgage license, but I'm not as active on the mortgage side as I'm mostly on the real estate side. But that's the first thing I tell them.
Okay, so we passed that step. Say you've approved me now for that $300,000, or we'll say $350,000 in between.
Yeah.
Property. What is another step?
Okay, so the next step after that would be that you have your pre-approval. You go to your agent, tell them what you're looking for, basically. You want a house, or you want a townhouse, or whatever it is in this area, and basically give them your criteria. And from there, it's much easier for that agent to do his job in regards to finding you a house.
So what's easier to buy? Well, speak on Toronto. Condo or house?
Well, I mean, oh, sorry. In regards to easier, I guess you assume it's cheaper. So I mean, the cheaper item or cheaper asset would be the condo. Condos right now, you get a 1-bedroom condo. If you want to stay in downtown, $350. Sometimes even lower if you want to get a studio. Houses are the average house right now is $1.2 million.
Woo.
You get houses in some areas cheaper than that, down to $700, maybe even $650 in some parts of Brampton, Scarborough. You go in further in the suburbs, Pickering, Ajax.
Which a lot of people are starting to do because they're like, they can't live in the city.
Right.
I hear people going as far as like Orangeville.
True. People have gone to Orangeville, Oakville. There's a lot of people that, I mean, I can't remember exactly what the article says, but I know Toronto has either the highest or at least top 10 highest in North America in regards to commute times.
Yeah.
So people in Toronto definitely commute to kind of get that house, get the space that they want. So yeah, I mean, you can go.
But I've heard condo fees, like, they rack up. You're pretty much paying like the same as a house. Is that a myth or true?
Yeah, that's a myth. So there's a lot of condos that are very old. The older condos, some of them that include hydro, or some of them are all inclusive, things like that. Some of the ones that are over 40 years old, some of those have some really high condo fees. The condos were really built the same way, so they have much more usage.
I feel like they're so small, the new condos, though. Sometimes it's
the
like...
new condos are smaller. The new condos are much smaller, but
yes.
I mean, it depends on what you want.
It's
We're
true.
We're not in the we're not in the phase of development as a city where we could afford to kind of waste any space. Toronto's turning Toronto is a very vibrant and large metro.
Yeah.
Toronto is now the third largest city, or the fourth largest city in North America, only behind New York, LA, and well, if you count Mexico, I think Mexico City is number one. So we're a major populace. So in any city like this, whether it's New York, London, LA, Miami, Houston, they're going to have to shrink in size in regards to the space that's being used. So we kind of just have to get used to it. These are the growing pains of being in one of the larger cities in the world.
So, in terms of length, how long does it take to buy a home? Like, from that point where you see the mortgage broker up until, what would you say? Well, we won't get to the final step, but to that final step, about how long do you think it takes if the process runs smoothly?
It all depends. In regards to how long it takes from the time that you pick a house, you get an offer accepted, it's normally going to be between 30 and 60 days for a closing. The reason why I say from acceptance of an offer is because there's some people that, they're looking for a specific thing, and they may need to see 50 houses right before they choose one. The 50 houses could take a year.
Sure.
There's some people that know exactly what they want. Like, they've already done they've been
research,
looking on Realtor.com or whatever. Some people have what they wanted from the time when they were 18. They knew exactly what they wanted, where they wanted to live, what they wanted. So you go with them. It might be one day. You might go out one day and then they find the house, or they may do some more research. Rather than actually touring, or doing more research in regards to, like on online. So depending on the buyer that you have, it could take 30, 60 days.
Okay, I feel like that's not bad, especially for something that like you plan to have in a sense for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem too much of a waiting process.
Right. Another tip I would say, when you say have for the rest of your life, some people actually delay the process, or they stay out of the real estate market because they just got out of school and now they're looking for their dream home.
Yeah. And
a lot of times, the sad reality is you're not going to get your dream home, right?
Unless you build it. Is it crazy prices to build a home?
Well, building a home that's a totally different process. Yeah. That's a totally different process. But I mean, if you want to buy your home, basically what I recommend for people to do is that you get something as close as what you want and get in the market. If you sit there and kind of, let homes pass and pass and let years pass, see people let years pass without buying a home, by the time you actually may find what you want, it's worth $100,000 more than what you originally could have got it for, and things of that nature. If you get the home that is close to what you want, and at least ride with the market, like the market's growing 10%, 20%, you're riding with it, then you can be a move-up buyer. Then it's much easier to kind of get that dream home that you want.
If you could compare how fast the rise of the Toronto market is to an animal, what animal would you choose?
Cheetah?
Cheese! Cheese!
I mean, well, like right now, condos is really rising. Detached or freeholds aren't rising like it is. As a matter of fact, I think this said the sales are coming down a lot right now. But I mean, if you actually look at homes, like I remember 2012, they had some homes in this area, maybe 250.
Whoa.
200, 250.
Those prices are unheard of.
Yeah, exactly. Now you can't get a condo in this area for probably gonna be around 400, right? And that's this is not. I'm talking about like the 90s. I'm talking about like 5 years ago. So I mean, it has grown. It has grown fast. And like my mentor is in New York, Queens, New York, and he's telling me how like basically there's a lot of people that got left behind in New York's market when New York was coming to its rise. It was bad in the 90s, gang violence and such. They had Giuliani. They cleared. They cleaned everything up. Property values started coming back and such. If you either sold or you just didn't buy at that time, now it's kind of like you're gonna have a hard time buying a property in New York City. So we're going kind of through that in Toronto. Or I mean, a lot of people that were either just looking. I mean, they may not be able to buy a house anymore.
Wow.
Just the ship has left. But I mean, that's not to be pessimistic. I mean, it's always ways to get good.
It's honest.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, why put yourself in more debt to buy something where ultimately it's gonna hurt you a lot in the long run? Okay. So what is a seller's market?
Seller's market is basically where the seller has the seller has the advantage. The supply is low, the buyer demand is high, so they could
So that would be summer. It's a seller's market.
Can't exactly be summer because it's more about where you are in regards to the
Geographic?
No. In regards to the name of it right now, where you kind of are in like the bell curve. So
Okay.
if the houses, when houses are appreciating very fast, I'll give you an example, a real life example. Right now, for the demand for freehold is not as hot as it was before. Before was a seller's market, you put a property on the market. Sometimes, I've been in offer for a house that was up to 34 offers. The whole block was filled with agents and families and cars or whatever. The whole block, 34 offers. Now that isn't really happening. There isn't any, huge multiple offer situations except for maybe for some condos. So now it's turning more into a buyer's market. The buyer can kind of go and kind of going back to negotiating, right? You can negotiate the price down.
Yeah.
For a while, you couldn't negotiate the price down in Toronto. When you have 34, when you have 33 people behind you,
You're like, no.
you can't say, oh well, there's a hole in the wall, I want the price to come down. No, that's
They'll
not
be
going to
like,
work.
well,
It's-
it's either you patch it or kick rocks.
But it's just about this next. If you
Yeah.
say anything about we want to take the price down, they're saying next, right? So that's the difference. Right now we're kind of making a little bit of the transition from a seller's market to a buyer's market in a way.
Okay. And so then you kind of explain what a buyer's market is as well. Okay. Is it expensive to have an agent help you buy a home? Is it worth it?
Okay, so on the buyer side, you actually don't pay anything, right? So in Toronto, at least, in some other cities, I think some maybe New York too, you may pay some commission on the buyer side, but in Toronto you don't pay anything. So it absolutely makes no sense not to buy.
Not to
well,
get
actually
an
say it
agent.
doesn't make any sense. Not to use an agent to help you buy a home because it's free on your part. You have some representation. Then yeah, it's basically it's literally free help.
So I know we kind of talked numbers already about 24,000, but how much money do you need to buy a home? Say if I'm under that 680, if I'm a 4, can I get a home?
If you're what?
400 something.
Well, if you're at 400, so basically, going to a percentage, the least amount down that you need to put is 5%, and that's for a primary residence. If you're at a 400, if you're at a 680 ratio, you can put down 5%. So let's say if it was a $4,000 house, 5% would be $20,000, and then you also have to factor in closing costs. If you're at a 4,
I like how you mumble that part.
Oh yeah, you have to factor in the closing costs always. Closing costs, I normally factor in 1 to 1.5%.
Yeah.
So you have, if you're at a 400, a lender is most likely gonna, let's say a lender's gonna require 20%. Well, now instead of that $20,000 down, you need to have $80,000 down. So it makes a huge difference with that credit. So you can still get the loan, but you may need now 20% down.
Yeah. Okay, what about people that don't have credit?
Zero credit?
Yeah.
You can still get loans.
Newcomer. I see RBC. They promote well for immigrants.
Right. Scotiabank does it too.
Okay.
They have a program to serve immigrants too. I'm not sure about the other banks, but I know Scotiabank.
Yeah, I know. I've seen for both. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could definitely get a mortgage with no credit.
Okay. So in your opinion, for the under 30s, or life has kind of changed a bit. Okay, the under 34s, no kids, house or a condo?
I say it kind of depends on your income, but I'm somewhat of like a minimalist. So I actually have on my Instagram semi-minimalist. So I would tell someone, you probably just buy a condo. You don't want to be house poor, which basically means you get this house, $1 million, and all your income is going towards paying the house. That you can't go on vacation, you can't
live
go
life.
out, you can't live life. You're just paying it off,
Yeah.
right? So I would say get something smaller, say a nice 1-bedroom condo, or even a studio if you really want to go all the way out. And or not even that, take that and then buy another rental property beside it.
I see a trend. I don't know if it's because I'm just around a lot of like students or young people, but they buy the house because they want to quote unquote be able to flip it. So they'll end up either living in the basement of the home or renting out the basement of the home and live upstairs so that they can still quote unquote have their house,
Right.
but it's not an empty nest per se.
Right, and that is why a lot of right now you have a lot of separate entrance. Okay, basically
Yeah,
a
that's
home
why they're
and a separate
building them
entrance.
like that. Because
Right, so people are I mean gravitating towards those because they may need someone to help them to pay off the mortgage, or I mean they just want to they don't need the whole house, they want the house, but they don't want to pay
the whole
that high.
thing. Mhm.
Right, so yeah, that's what's happening. So we are doing that, living in the basement, having someone live up top, and yeah, I mean it works. That's a smart way to do it too. That's a smart way to kind of really a smart way to real estate invest. I mean, even make money with your primary residence. So
I found
I recommend it.
I found a trend for a little bit too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd say maybe safely about 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of people were buying condos before like as many are built now, so that they could later on sell it to buy their house.
Well, I mean that's another good way. A lot of people were actually doing it with pre-construction, basically. So you buy pre-construction,
Yes,
buy it off
yes,
plan,
I've heard of that
and then
too.
by the time it's done, you sell it or sign it before it's done. That's a good way to go about it. You make a chunk of change, and then you take that, use it towards your down payment to buy a house. I mean that's a good way to smart way to buy real estate as well.
Okay, so if I'm a current homeowner, should I sell my home before I buy another one? Or, like, say I'm looking to move or whatever situations people might have, but I currently have a house or a condo, but I'm going to have to get another one. Should I sell it before I leave or keep it? Like, what would you say is better?
Well, you know what? I actually tell people it's very hard to buy real estate, right? If you have it, I'm much different than many agents. I'll try to find ways people to actually keep their house and buy the next one. If they don't have to sell it, then don't. I find real estate is very valuable. So if you could keep it, rent it, and maybe either refinance it or something to buy the next house, you should do that first. If you can't do that, well then, what you want to do, a good way to go about it is to basically, you can put your house up on the market, depending on what market we're in, but you can put your house up on the market, get a long closing, let's say even like a 120-day closing. I'll give you more than enough time to buy a house and close within that time, so you don't have any kind of problems in regards to.
Would you say closing takes that same average of 30 to 60 days?
No, you decide what closing is. So
Okay.
I mean, if you're going to sell your house and you say you want a 120-day closing, that's just what it is. I mean, you don't have to do it 20-day closing. There's a lot of people that will go for that. So that will give you enough time to go and find your other house.
Okay, interesting. What if the person has filed for bankruptcy before? How does that affect them buying a home or buying property?
Well, depending on the terms of their bankruptcy and how far they are removed from their bankruptcy, it will make a huge difference.
Does it matter? Because, my knowledge, or what would you say the definition of kind of bankruptcy is? Because my knowledge of it is just, you say, blah, 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 you can't pay this. For 7 years, you can't get nothing. And then you got scotch-free credit, to put it in short. Is that actually how it works? Would you say?
Bankruptcy is actually more of a process. So it's more than just that. Like sometimes you have different kind of, depending what chapter
What
you
kind
file.
of debt you have.
Right. So I mean, maybe you have to pay some of it back during that time if you paid it back earlier.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. I'm not a bankruptcy expert.
Okay.
But depending on how far you're removed from the bankruptcy, you can still buy a home.
Okay.
Same thing with foreclosure.
I see like random commercials, that Oliver Cash for Gold, now Silver for Gold. He promotes, you can go to them and get mortgage rates or the bank. Like what's a good direction for people to go in these like kind of mom and pop one-off places, or go to your major banks?
I actually recommend for people to use a mortgage broker. Use a good mortgage broker, a very connected mortgage broker. They can see what the banks, the rates of the banks. They have their own private lenders. They look at B lenders, everything else. I in regards to mom and pops, I'm not exactly sure how their operation is run.
Yeah.
But I just like the variety that a mortgage broker will give you.
Okay. Sorry. Let's say I've lost my house or my condo, is it hard to say I pick myself back up in some kind of regard? Is it harder to buy property again because people have seen that you've lost the property?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely like a foreclosure or
yes,
a
sorry, that was the word I was. Yeah.
Of your car is gonna hurt you a lot. Doesn't mean you can't come back from it though. There's a lot of people that have been through.
I just want to say, downtown, don't waste no time with negativity. No matter what the situation is, you can come back from anything. I know this is just real estate, but I felt the need to say that. No matter what it is, you can come back for anything. I literally just listened because I love Oprah's Super Soul conversations. And she interviewed this girl. I wish I could remember her name. I think it was Amy or something like that. But she got meningitis and lost her legs from the knee down. And her spleen. No, I don't feel bad for her. She was on Dancing with the Stars, snowboarding, just killing all these records. Like when you hear things like that, like, what is no? Like, what is no?
Yeah.
Like, there has to be a way to get to where I need to get. Maybe it's not in the direction that I first thought, but there has to be some sort of other path, back alley, but please try and go through the front door. Type of way.
No, it's very, very true. I mean, if you actually look at the lives of a lot of people, not to be sorry for them or whatever, but I mean,
I empathize, but it's encouraging and so uplifting as well. Like,
to see them fighting through that.
And her herself, she was saying, like, when it happened, even when they were wheeling her to the surgery room to just let her know that, no, she was like pep talking herself and was like, you're about to lose your legs, but it isn't nothing. It's actually more of a green light from here. Like, your life does not stop here. Where a lot of people, straight up, you think about killing yourself.
Right.
What is life without my legs, etc. And she was 19 when it happened to her. That's like, quote unquote, the prime of your life. You're an adult now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of things people could learn from that.
So I would say, just because you have bankruptcy, bad credit, whatever the case is, in the housing market, from what I'm understanding, there's always a way.
Always a way.
Just have your bag up.
Yeah.
In whatever direction it is, you gotta have your bag together. Sorry. How many homes should the average person like view before they commit to one?
I don't.
Because I know you're saying some people know what they want.
Yeah.
But still, like, if you show them one property and they were like, okay, I'm good with this, I want this, do you ever say to them, you know what, I have one more property in mind, like, maybe we should check that out before you make this commitment, or you just go with it?
Yeah. I think one would be a little bit too, I mean, it wouldn't be enough. But at the same time, there isn't a certain amount. So what I would say, it's hard to really say. A lot of times you just look at the judge, the buyer, and when they tell you what they want, it's normally not going to equate to just one house, unless you're looking for something specialized, right? I mean, if you're looking for, $10 million house, or maybe you're looking for
Post Road.
So you're looking for something like a bridal path kind of house, right? There's only so many houses like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you may not be able to find 50 houses like that.
Legit.
So I mean, it all depends on who the buyer is, what they're looking for, things of that nature.
Just as a random story, I don't know if anyone else does this, and I still do it up to this age. I don't care. Judge me. Even when I used to have my car, I would just drive through the Bridal Path neighborhood and just look at the houses. There's something so encouraging about seeing those properties. I don't know if when I become a millionaire, if I'll still drive through for inspiration, but even growing up, you drive through that Lawrence community off of Bayview, it's just so uplifting, because I feel like in Toronto it's not like LA that has like Calabasas and stuff like that. Like you don't see much of those types of properties. That's one.
They're there.
No, they're there.
Yeah.
Like I know about is it Hogs Hollow?
Hogs Hollow.
Is that what it's called?
Right, yeah.
Where you kind of did. I love that one as well.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not gonna give up too much of my spots because I ain't trying to see no cars where I be trying to reflect and think. But
no, I mean there's a lot of very nice homes, and it's actually encouraging that you go by there and you have a positive experience and you're kind of motivated, because a lot of people will drive by there and feel negative about it, feel feel like negative feelings towards people that have those kind of things and luxurious things and things of that nature. So it's good that that's the effect it has on you. But I mean there's a lot of
what kind of effect does it have on you?
The same. I mean, I'm not as I'm not a person that really wants like a large house or anything. Not like, because a lot of people will say that, and just because they don't feel like they can get it. I mean, I own multiple homes, right? So I know I could get a very big home, but I just still like, let's say, I mean, sometimes even in my condo here in this building, it's 2 bedrooms. Sometimes I never go in the other bedroom. So and it's a 2-bedroom condo. So I mean, even if I had a large home with 4 or 5 bedrooms, a lot of places just collect dust because I don't do much at home. I mean, I work at home. You're working. And I sleep.
He's helping people buy homes.
Yeah, okay? I just work and sleep. Like I don't do much at home. So yeah, I mean, I definitely. I mean, I enjoy a nice house. When I go to a nice house, I appreciate a nice house. But not. I don't think those things are for me right now. Obviously, right now, I'm not married with children, so who knows? If I had a larger family, maybe I would like it. But as of right now, that's not something I would want.
I got a lot of ideas for the second room. You could turn it into a game room, an office.
True.
A thinking room.
Yeah, and one room.
Whatever fits your personality.
So one room is my room, like my master bedroom and such. My other room is an office.
See?
But I have a futon in there, and normally end up sleeping there.
Yeah.
So
it's not good to sleep in your workspace, though. Just mentally for your mind frame, not for your business.
I've actually heard that before.
But it's because I've been doing some studies as well, and even like with doing downtown and stuff, I'll be in my bed eating on my laptop working and then go to sleep. But through listening to a lot of people, like that's a common thing I do here in C. Like it's not good you have to separate the two, so that way your bed is actually your bed, or your working space is actually your working space. Mm-hmm. Mentally your brain can, you ever see when you sit at a desk how much you can get done versus like sitting in your couch and having your laptop on your lap and working? Like
I always work at a desk,
because I'm not saying for everyone, but for most people it's more of an efficient process. All right, how I gotta stop saying so much. I'm gonna work on that, everybody. How long do sellers take to respond to your offer usually?
So when you make an offer, you normally give what's called 24-hour irrevocability, which means they have 24 hours to accept your offer, or else the offer goes null and void. Sometimes it could be less than that, depending on the situation.
Okay.
That's basically it. If it was a different kind of deal, maybe you'll give a longer time, but normally 24 hours.
Okay. Do you need to get a home inspection?
So what you would do is that when you make your offer, you put what's called a clause, right? So you make maybe a home inspection clause, which basically means after the home inspection, if there's anything wrong or anything that I don't see that anything I find that needs to be corrected that you won't correct or something like that, then I could back out of the deal. I can get my deposit back. Okay. You have the same thing in there with finance. If I don't get a mortgage, then basically, I get my money back. Things of that nature. On bigger deals, commercial deals, you have what's called a due diligence clause most of the time. Due diligence clause means after I do my due diligence on the area, the market, the building, the business, everything else like that. After all those are satisfied, then this deal will go what's called firm.
Okay, what if I back out and change? Like, when can I do that? Would it be during that? Right.
So you can back out. You can back out and get your money back, depending on the clause that you have in there, on the contingencies that you have. Yeah, it kind of just depends. Like you make the offer, right? So let's say if I was making an offer on behalf of you, I put 5 days of due diligence clause, or 5 days finance clause, or 5 days inspection clause. It's 5 days. That's normally going to be 5 days.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be 7 days. Sometimes it could be 10 days. Normally, people don't want to wait that long. And yeah, sometimes like a due diligence clause will be 30 days.
Okay.
So yeah, that'll give you 30 days to back out.
So Jermaine, you know, you are a top agent in the city, and you are a great guy. And anyone listening, I would definitely recommend, no, not just because I know him, because you could trust him to get property. But I need to know, what is like the highest property you think you sold?
Highest, it would be a little under 1.2.
That's dope. That's dope. And you're like not even 40 or 35. I'm not gonna tell y'all how old he is, but he's not 35. No. Okay. Do you feel comfortable sharing the craziest selling or buying experience that you've had in your journey of being a real estate agent? You don't have to drop any names.
There's been a lot of
crazy experiences.
Right. I mean, I say one of the most shocking experiences. I mean, I've been to a house one time, not too far from the beaches, and the house was it looked like the worst house you could find on the show orders.
Like a trap house?
No, not even a trap house. It was like just everything. It's only like a small little slither to walk in.
Whoa.
And obviously, you know, well, the thing about it, so my clients there were contractors, right? So they're looking for fixer-uppers. So, I mean, they're looking for houses that need work, right? But still, this house is so bad that we couldn't.
They just came and they were like, no.
Yeah. And you'll find a lot of things like that when you're working with contractors or whoever, people that buy fix and flip houses. You're going to look for fixer-uppers, and some of the houses are going to be in, some terrible shape.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. What is something else I want to ask you? I feel like I haven't asked you enough. I need to dig a bit deeper. Is there anything you want to ask me?
I'm not sure. I didn't really come with any questions.
I just put you on the spot. Downtown K, I'm notorious for that.
One thing, I guess, I think we should maybe
discuss?
Discuss is we already talked about, how seniors right now are playing a big part in the market.
Yes.
Obviously, that's not like the demographic that's listening to this, but what that's creating demand for a lot is a lot of like bungalows. That's also affecting the condo market, things of that nature. That's another important part. Right now, we're in regards to politics, government actually, inserting themselves into the market, where basically they're making different mortgage rules to make housing more affordable.
So is the Liberals good or bad for the housing economy?
Oh, I couldn't say that much. But I would say they're
no
basically
comment.
they're basically trying to. What they're doing is successfully cooling the real estate market. I would say that. Things like that, and then things like, also increasing minimum wage, stuff like that. They're trying to make it more affordable more possible, I guess, for
people. I would say for new immigrants. This is a newcomer country, and a lot of the people coming in, they're going to these minimum paying jobs. So whether it be Tim Hortons or whatever, because that's all they can get, skilled worker jobs. Let's be real. But they still have a family to provide for, and they would still like to aspire to get property. Right. So now in 2018, I believe it is $14 an hour, and for 2019, it'll be raised to the $15 per hour.
Yes.
So that would give you what? If you're working 40 hours, about what? 30?
So $14 over 40 hours a week. I think it comes up to about $28,000 a month. A year.
Okay. So with that, every mickle can make a muckle. For those of you that don't understand,
29,000.
Google it. Okay.
So that'll give you a 29,000 even on minimum wage, right? So, you know,
Yeah, it's not bad.
that can help a little bit.
Okay, so you're stuck downtown. You just lost it all. You only get one. Who do you call?
One call.
You're stuck downtown. You just lost it all. You only get one. Who do you call?
My parents.
For real? Like,
Yeah.
like both of them at the same time? You're gonna call your mom
Oh.
first, your dad first? I don't want to get nobody mad at each other now. But
I would say my parents. I call my parents. So I mean, so if I was in dire need and I'm just like on the streets,
you only get one. You
Yeah.
lost it all.
I would call my parents.
Straight. You're not the first person to say that.
Mhm.
Big ups to the parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel that young people should look into investing in properties more?
Yes.
I find like a lot of young people, they've been bamboozled in a sense. Like at one point, you were not tricked, but it was targeted towards. Like I feel like there's always something that I don't want to say the government, but some entity targets the younger demographic, whether it's with credit card sellers on campus or leasing and financing vehicles when you're still working at Forever 21. You know,
Downtown K.
what would you?
Rap tour.
I mean, I would love to see more people or people our age invest in real estate. Even just using some of the tips that I gave here, that could at least get them to start. They could take that, buy the first home, refinance years later, buy another one.
Because I don't mind the jewelry.
The
The
what?
jewelry is a good investment in my opinion, depending on what kind of jewelry the young people are
Jewelry,
getting.
I would
Because that could
say-
be sold. It's
I would
gold.
say jewelry is a good investment.
No?
I don't like gold either. I mean, I am a very kind of like an older time investor. I don't invest in things that don't make money.
Yeah.
So with the recent, unfortunately, with the recent like Bitcoin boom,
I was just about to ask you about that.
because it doesn't. Not saying it's not a good investment, but because I don't see how it makes money. It doesn't really make money. It's just kind of based on the work that a person perceives it. I don't really invest in it.
So to
same
be
thing happened with
fair, for the digital currency or cryptocurrencies, it's kind of like a stock market. It has to go up, has to come down, has to go up, has to come down. But what if a young person was like, you know what? I'm going to invest this money into some Bitcoin and Ethereum, whatever else, and then I'm going to pull that out and buy a property. What would you tell them?
I would tell them not to do it. Personally, I would tell them not to do it.
You look
I
so
mean-
stressed just now, like, don't do it.
Yeah, I tell them not to do it. I mean, there'd be a very, very few exceptions where I'd say, if you know what makes Bitcoin increase in value and decrease in value, then you can take that risk. Unfortunately, 99.9% of the people don't know what makes it increase or decrease.
Legit.
So I'm going to stick with what I know. So, I mean, things like real estate, things like businesses, these things make money. I can see how much money they're making. Whether someone perceives the value to be up or down, let's say I have a condo here, whether someone perceives the value to be $1 million or perceives the value to be $1, that rental income is still coming in.
Yeah.
Rents don't really go up and down. Rents are one thing that we can say, one source of income we can say in
More
this
stable.
life that probably the most stable. Like rents don't fluctuate really. Rents just go up.
Yeah.
It only gets more and more expensive.
I
really.
wish a landlord would be like, "Hey, this year
Yeah,
your
right,
rent has
or
dropped."
no.
Like,
You don't find that. I mean, it very obviously, nothing is an absolute. A place like Detroit that lost 35% of its population, then sure,
Yeah.
right? Rents have gone down. Everyone's gone. But I mean, and most of the time you're not going to find that. So I find it hard for people. It's literally hard for you to be a real estate investor for 20 years and not be rich.
yeah.
Difficult. You can invest in a lot of things for 20 years and not be rich.
It's true.
But literally, real estate, you have to try to mess up.
What's the weirdest
that'd
thing
be
you've
rich.
ever heard someone say they invested in?
The weirdest thing. I had someone tell me they were like, is that the weirdest thing?
This might be a bit petty, but I've seen people invest in other people that have never even left their neighborhood.
That could be even well,
That was a horrible investment to me because
but some of those could
you
be
don't even
like,
have
it
a
could
passport.
be a very, very risky investment. Definitely. Maybe you know something about that person that I don't know. Maybe it works out for you, but
shaky.
you know, but
well, I've also heard of underwear.
underwear's a good investment. Why not? There's a lot of people that make underwear.
I just thought it was
That make
weird
a lot of money
because
from
of
making
that.
underwear.
Like, I don't know. I just
And that's not something I would invest in. I mean, remember, because I'm saying it's a good investment. It means it's something I'm
Yeah,
good
yeah,
invest in.
it doesn't have to
I'm good
be.
at investing in things. Maybe I'll invest in an underwear company that could show me returns, show me income,
Yeah.
show me their, their 5, 10, 20-year plan. But, 95% of my time is going to go into investing in real estate. And I find that this in life, people who really, really make it to the heights that I aspire to, gotta focus on one thing, right?
It's true.
So if you focus on one thing for over a long amount of time,
it should pay off.
it should pay off. So, going back to to your podcast and things with hip hop, the reason why a lot of those rappers have made it big so early is because guys like Lil Wayne started rapping at I think it's like 7 years old, 8 years old.
Crazy.
And then, people like, even Jay-Z who started rapping late. He really got on late.
But
made
he
his
came
first album
in,
to like
he
27.
came into the game with money. Let's clarify.
Yeah, he came with money, but his money not what made his rapping good, right?
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
people come
yeah,
with
yeah.
money and they're rapping
Yeah,
not
yeah,
good.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But in anything, basketball, a lot of singing,
It's
a lot of
true.
things, people start off early, they focus on that one thing, and they make it.
They flourish.
So, in regards to investing in things outside of real estate, I mean, it would be things that are very safe that I don't have to pay attention to. Things like, things like really just like the market, like indexes, ETFs, stuff like that that are very, very safe investments because I'm not really watching it.
Yeah. So, what are some last words, Mr. Javane, ugh, I'm having a bit of a tongue twister, sorry, that you would like to share or leave with the audience? Downtown, don't waste no time with negativity, real estate segment.
I think it's important to know that, I think Andrew Carnegie said 90% of millionaires invest in real estate. I think if you want to develop financial freedom, that doesn't be your only thing, but I think part of your portfolio should be in real estate. I mean, that's everyone listening to this. You should be investing in real estate in some fashion. It doesn't have to be actively, doesn't have to be majority of your income, but you should be investing in real estate.
Legit. Well, I want to say thank you very much for sharing these keys and knowledge with myself and audience. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing again from you soon. Where is the best place that people can find you if they like to get in contact with you?
The best place, really, you can find me. I'm pretty active on social media, mostly trying to, motivate the masses and such. It's just at Javane, which is at DJUVAYNE, or on Facebook, I think it's Javane.Christian, DJUVAYNE.Christian. Either way, if you put my name just about any one of those things, D'_JUVAYNE,
Not to
I'm
toot
the
my
only
own
one.
horn, but
I'm literally the only Javane on earth, so it's
Jeez.
not too hard to find me if you write my name in.
facts. Well, thank you again. This is Downtown K, another segment of Downtown Podcast. Here we are, and have a great night.
Downtown. About to go downtown.